Executive Director, Africa Education Watch, Asare, has suggested government channels teacher trainee allowance funds into the Student Loan Trust Fund. Now, this proposition comes as government threatens to withhold feeding grants and teacher trainee allowances to colleges of education across the country if they admit students beyond the quota set for them. Now, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, in a letter addressed to principals of colleges of education, directed the schools to admit a defined number of students for the 2022-23 academic year. Asare says the quota given to schools is not because colleges are choked.
I think this was expected. It wasn't possible for government to sustain the payment of teacher trainee allowances. As it wasn't possible in the past, so shall it be today and in the future. We indicated to government that spending 240 million in feeding adult learners who are tertiary students was wasteful expenditure. The government went ahead, and then now we are seeing government struggling to finance the payment of the allowance. Let me indicate that the statement that the Teacher Trainee Association has released is just a political response, to a serious educational issue. I don't think they want Ghanaians to believe that the quota was imposed because colleges of education were choked. I mean, it's very, very laughable to assume that one would expect Ghanaians to believe that the quotas have been imposed because the schools are choked. That is not the reason. Government has never admitted that any college of education is choked. And I believe that the principals of the colleges, in their wisdom, will never admit students when the schools are choked. So that is not the case. The case is that the cutoffs have been imposed because government can only pay a certain amount of money as trainee allowance. And that is part of what we are going through under the IMF program. The net hiring freeze policy that has been imposed in the public sector is not only a freeze on employment, but it also requires that you cut on your compensation budget line. And the teacher trainee allowance is a major compensation budget line in the education sector. So it is not surprising that government is unable to increase that amount, and for that matter has to reduce intake by 30% into College of Education for 2013. Channel the 240 million Ghana cedis a year, which has proven inadequate to finance the allowance and feeding scheme, into the student loan scheme. Government has introduced a guarantee-free student loan scheme, which requires that once one holds a national ID, they can qualify to benefit from student loan. So, but the student loan trust fund is underfunded. This year, government allocated only 3 million in the budget. We know there may be other sources coming on later. But the fact is that it is underfunded. That is why student loan keeps delaying.